TQ, I Am, The Queen I Am with Felicia Gaddis. Her story, her experience, her wisdom. Tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. at Fire 716 Radio. TQ I Am inspires, uplift, and transform. Tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Hello, my name is Felicia Gaddis, and I am here to share some life experiences and to just open up on some things that I know God has chosen me to share. So a little bit about me is I have 3 sons and I have beautiful grandchildren, and it's quite a few. So he's here. I'm here to just, share. It's like I have 10 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. And so I know God has called me to mentor to women and children and just, help everybody out with some things in life. And so God has called me to share some things. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a person that's out and about in the community amongst a lot of people. But, it's time to stop being shy and just share what God has for me to share. And so with that being said, I thank you, sir, for Fire 716 Radio. And I look forward to just the ride and the journey that God has us on.
Absolutely.
And I thank Pastor Bertha for being the woman that she is, because she is truly a queen in her own right. And I'm going to share with you guys how it came to be that God gave me this mentoring. The name Queen I Am came from, I was talking with a friend of mine. Her name is Evangelist Gaskin. And I was telling her that God was saying back in 2016 that he wants me to call the mentoring something with Queen. And so I left the room and I said, the Queen I Am. And she was like yelling. She was like, Felicia, that's it. That's it. The Queen I Am. And then I said, what do you mean that's it? She said, literally, when you walked out the room and you said, the Queen I Am, I had a picture on the wall, and it was like 3 women standing in a circle holding hands, and they were praying. And underneath the picture, it said, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, he'll be in the midst. And it literally fell off the wall. So that told me that we was like, okay, that's what God wants me to call it, the Queen I Am. And the Queen I Am, it means God wants us to be the best queen that we can be. Whatever queenship is for you, he wants you to be the best at it. And the same for me. It don't mean that I'm a queen. It means whatever situation or whatever your life is, or whatever, he wants you to walk with your head held high and know that you're the apple of his eye and you're a queen. So he just wants us to know that we are the apples of his eye. So that's where Queen I Am came from. God showed us that's what he wanted me to call it, and that's why it's called the Queen I Am. And the abbreviations is TQ I Am. So that's where that came about. So if you have any questions you want to ask me, Frank.
thing, and you talked about your inspirations and what really got you there. Um, I get the moment that you had. You said, I was talking to God. He gave it to me. When you got that, like, how did you? Yes, he gave you the name, but how did you really develop that together? How did you come up with the full? This is what this is.
Okay. Well, I dealt with different types of relationships, and God was like, you think when you get in a relationship you can help people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only person that can be helped is whoever God. I'm not God.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people to come into my life, and I felt like I was to help them, but no, I was to help them get to Christ.
Yeah.
But if I couldn't get them to get to Christ, my season for it would be over.
Yeah.
So if me or them being in my life couldn't help them get to Christ, then who am I? It's God's business.
Yeah.
After that. So that's how he gave me Queen I Am. And he used me to raise 3 sons into 3 men.
Yeah.
So I was like, how is it that God can use a woman to train up 3 sons to be 3 decent men?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, God, I see what he was doing with me from being a teen mom all the way up until now. He's never left my side. I might have left his side because when I was a teen mom, I was into St. John's. We had youth Fridays, and I was like, it was no reason I should have became a teen mom, but that was God's will for my life to become a teen mom. And so over the years of me being a teen mom, it's like God was there for me the whole time through everything. So that's one reason. And then he blessed me with 10 granddaughters. So I have to step up to the plate and show them and teach them to be the best queen that they can be, so that's another, so.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be open with this one. Are you afraid to really tell your story?
Am I afraid to really tell my story?
Yeah.
No, I'm not afraid to tell my story.
Yeah. Because I think that sometimes we, in the church, we go to church and, you get the mothers of the church and we see their end result. We see them, you in your white outfit now, kid, but we don't know that storyline or that journey to how they become. And I think that the fact that you're opening up to, let me show you how to become this queen, because, the word queen is out there. We see all the time.
Out there all the time.
But nobody's discussing how do I become this queen that you're talking about. And I think that your structure, I think that what you're willing to be vulnerable in opens up that door of, let me show you how to get there. Because being a queen doesn't mean that I'm without mistakes, I'm without flaws, or I'm without challenges, if you will. And if I had to categorize it, what would be one of your biggest missions that you want the young people or a woman or a queen to really know? If you came across it one time, what would be that thing you would want them to know? If that makes sense.
God made it to be one woman or one man to one woman. And so I see a lot of women dealing with men trying to, I guess, play the field. God made you a queen. You don't sit back and put up with nonsense.
Yeah.
If you bring it to them and tell them that you're not happy with the situation and they continue to keep bringing you that, you have to be strong enough to say, I'm not dealing with this, because you have sons that you might be raising, You may have daughters that see what's going on. You don't want them to think that it's okay for a man to treat you any old kind of way, because that's not what God intended for it to be. So I'm trying to help people be delivered from, putting up with men and whatever they want to dish out. And most of the time, it's like you the breadwinner. And so why would you sit back and take some foolishness from someone if you're doing everything for the family? No, you got to stop playing may the best one win, and know that you're a winner because God said you're a winner.
For sure.
And you're a queen. So don't sit back and look back and say, oh, I done wasted this amount of years in this relationship or this situationship. And, God didn't intend it for it to be like that. So I'm here to help, like deliverers, help, set some people free.
No, valid, absolutely.
From that.
So that right now there's a stigma that we say all the time. Oh, I can't reach the youth; they're not listening. There is a gap in between, if you will. How do you feel that you're going to be able to bridge that gap or connect that? Would they say the disconnect? How do you feel you're going to be effective in that regard?
I have a lot of people, they look up to me. They're in their 20s, early 30s, and I'm a woman of a certain age, even though I may not look like I'm the age that I am. But yeah, so I know God saved my time for such a time as this, because we need to reach the youth, we need to reach the middle age, and also some older women as well. So that's mainly why I think God called me to a time as such as this. So if anybody want to put some questions out there for me to maybe answer next week or what have you, my email number is fgaddis1967@gmail.com, and I'll repeat it again later. So if anybody have any questions for me, you can just email me at fgaddis1967@gmail.com.
They can also, if they have a question now, they can give us a call at 716-299-0013. I'll put the number up on the screen. I know that there's a need, and there's like I said before, you answered the question, how to step out quickly, but you talked about that bridging that gap. There's a need there because the young women now aren't being cultivated or I don't use the word trained. They're not being taught how to be effective in life, and they're going through this experimental phase, which can be very damaging. And the conversation isn't being had enough to talk about, listen, I've been where you've been. I know where you at. I get relationships. I get wanting love. I get missing things. And just there's an importance of, hey, the conversation has to be had. And I think that TQIM, the Queen I Am, is a great platform and a great method to really go out and say, hey, listen, let's have this conversation. And let's have those tough conversations. They're not necessarily so pretty or so cute. Sometimes they're stuff you don't really want to talk about, stuff you don't really like, that hurt or that's trauma, that's triggering. But I thank you for being willing to be that vessel that God can use in this journey. I just want to first commend you for starting it and launching it and using our platform to make that happen. I just want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to be willing to submit our children to that process. So with that being said, my question would be, in the process of you trying to, teach the queens how to be queens. And you get the young child who you're trying to mature, you're trying to evolve, but the parent is kind of counteracting what you're trying to do. How do you balance? What is your strategy of trying to balance? How do you balance that out? Where I'm trying to help her, but it's like that every time I help, you go back home to your mom or you go back home to your family, and it's like they're undoing what I'm trying to let God do through me. How do you balance that out?
Well, I have a little situation going on right now where it's okay. So, okay, I'm just gonna, I don't want to use names or whatever, but the situation was that the young lady stays out every weekend with a close friend. And so they went to a school dance and she left her close friend to go be with the other young ladies. And so when the dance was over, it left the one young lady alone, right?
Yeah.
And so when it was time for the ride home, she got back with the one young lady and the parent took them home. And the one young lady said to her mom, well, my friend, she left me all alone and was running around with other young ladies. And I said, that's not right, because if you guys came together, you should be together. So I was trying to explain to her mother, you teaching, she told me her daughter was the silly one for, letting that happen like that. I said, but you're her mother. So if you don't teach her that wasn't right for her friend to leave her and to go off with other young ladies, and you saying, well, that's a lesson for her. No, you, her mother, you have to teach her that she don't have to be treated like that by anybody. Absolutely. So if she gonna be treated like that by a female friend, what do you think she gonna be like if a man came to her? The man is gonna treat her like that and she gonna think it's okay. No, you, her mother, you need to teach her and stop her from being with this young lady because she's not a true friend. So
and I know, you said a lot just in giving that storyline, and I thank you for your wisdom with balancing, not giving out names, but there is a conversation that is required between yourself as the assignment, who has the assignment, and the children. But I thank you for your boldness to be willing to have that conversation with the mother, because what I, as being a preacher and a teacher at times, and I work with youth, I pour out, we lay hands, we pray, we encourage, we uplift. But when they go back home, I find myself coming back next week, having to redo what was just done. And then the parent not really being tapped into what their child is saying and or doing. But I think that we need this conversation. We need this dialogue, because there are, I have daughters. I got my Lord Jesus, my heart just dropped. I have two daughters. I also have a son, and I want to make sure that we're giving them the best. And watch this. And maybe we don't know it all. And maybe we haven't experienced certain things, but you being willing to tell your story and be that example, and willing to address the parent as well, is an asset to the assignment, because that's where the disconnect happens as well. And I just want to commend you for that. I guess this is a commending kind of day today, because when you realize that what you have is needed, it's like, oh, we need to get you everywhere, because we need this conversation and we need it consistently. And you're doing that right now. And I know you have, you were saying you have a curriculum, you have some things you have planned for the youth as well, for the summer.
So,
give us some information about that.
It's called the Summer Expo, and it's like God came to me and he was like, he needs me to, like the first Saturday after the children get out of school, he said to, have a summer event where we can have speakers and music and, give away free food for the kids, hot dogs, hamburgers, and talk to them and share some stories. So maybe before the kids go out and do something, whether it be sex, drugs, or whatever, you know, he wants us to get in their ear so they can be like, oh, we just went to this event last week. Well, it'll make them think twice before they figure, oh, well, I'm going to go get into some mischief. No, it's to get them to think and like, let's stay positive, you know, so we can try to avoid teen pregnancy and the kids getting out there on drugs, because we don't have community centers anymore and places for the kids to go. So we need to step up to the plate and start, you know, creating things to keep the children busy and keep them out of trouble, you know, because it seemed like it's getting bad out here, worse than what it was. So and
I believe that it truly is. Right now we deal with, and I won't make this a women bashing situation, but just because they're the topic of discussion right now. Right now is really about being very selfish. Now it's about nothing trying to be extra masculine, you know, trying to be unqueen like. I want to say it like that. And there's just so much happening. It's like, who's going to be the person to stand up and represent what it means to truly be a queen? And I think, again, for your willingness to go after it, it's a blessing. But when I tell you that there's a need and there's a passion, not just in church, but in church, out of church, the community, and here in the city of Niagara Falls, you said it, and I was just reiterating what you said, we do not have an outlet for the youth. I'll say it like this. There's about we got about 48,000 people in the city of Niagara Falls, and about 12,000 of them fall in between ages of, let's say, like maybe 15 to 24 about. But that number of people who needs guidance and instructions, we only have the Boys and Girls Club, which is limited resource center, which has hours that's like, hey, once y'all close, where we at? And then it's the streets. And so, you know, and it's my prayer too, just as you talk about the expo for the kids, that Fire 716 Radio, where we're getting ready to go and do, there will be an outlet to show them there's other things to do and develop, even, you know, the young lady, the young man, but hey, you can choose to do this instead of that, you know, give it an alternative. And
we need our Doris Joneses to step up, and Dorothy Brundages, and I admire Kiara Agee, as young as she is, stepping up and doing things that women of our ages should be doing. And I commend her on that. And so, you know, we just need to step up to the plate and start creating things for our kids, because the phones is taking over, TikTok and all this other stuff is taking over. So we need to grab our children back and help them, because we're losing.
No,
we need to win.
And you know, and I'm gonna say this as I guess give a little compassion for the people, and I say that because you know, every generation requires, like you said, those people that you name. It requires somebody who's willing to stand up, to be a representative, and to really fight for change. I had a conversation earlier this week, and I said, you know, the conversation is needed and it's great, and I understand that. But there's another responsibility where you have to really put your hands to the plow and really have to do something. And again, with the expo, that's doing something. Now, yes, we're talking about it. Yes, TQIM will be an impact of conversation, but it's going to be an impact with evidence that, hey, this conversation saved my life. This conversation was one that made me think or look differently, because sometimes this generation, unfortunately, we don't think long term. You quoted out like TikTok and these things, but you got to pay attention. These are 30-second things that got our attention. It's short time. We're not thinking long term, but all it takes is consistent short times to get you so derailed. I've been watching TikTok a whole 2 hours and came by watching these 15-30-second videos. I'm like, oh, it's been that long. And it's like, hey, what if that could have been a conversation that could have changed your life? Exactly. So balance and all those elements and those things. And I think that you being the person to be in the forefront. And I just feel the need to encourage you, pursue it and you go hard. And it may not be for everybody and everybody may not accept it because some waters, some plant, but God gets the increase. But your consistency in doing it, you become the name, you become the person that gives God the glory ultimately, but I'm using you for this time for a reason. I'm putting pressure on you for a reason. I'm giving you ideas and thoughts that are bigger and beyond you on purpose, because what you're getting ready to do is you're getting ready to surpass your budget. It's not about your budget, not about what you can do, but I'm going to send people as a community. Absolutely. Let's step up. And I want to just commend you for that. But we got about 3 minutes left or so. You want to give a final thought to the people before we get ready to get out of here?
I just want to share that God is calling us to step up, and as a community, we need to, help our children to have a chance at life, because TikTok and Instagram, that's not the way. They learning a lot of things from there when they need to be sitting down 101 with a human being and teach them something, show them how to be a true man and a true woman. And we can't do it without God's help and prayers. So we need all the prayers we can get so we can start this mission that God has called me to. And so with that being said, thank you for sharing, and download the app Fire 716, because we have lots of spaces for people who wants to come and be a part. So thank you. And I'll see you guys next week at 1:00.
TQ, I Am, the Queen I Am, with Felicia Gaddis. Her story, her experience, her wisdom. Tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. at Fire 716 Radio. TQ I Am inspires, uplift, and transform. Tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.